Hello, welcome to the Fab and Flashy Show where elegance meets empowerment. I'm your host, Bree Wilson, and if you're a woman who's 35 plus, you're in the right place because we will discuss so much that you can relate to. Be sure to come back really soon because each week we drop a brand new episode. Today, for our self-care series, we will discuss the benefits of sound therapy and infrared spa. Joining us today is Prism Spa and Sound. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you. For those of us who may be new to sound therapy, what exactly is it?
So sound therapy essentially is utilizing sound to impact our physiology and really regulate our nervous system. Okay, so it impacts us emotionally, physically, even spiritually, mentally. You know, it really just helps calm our nervous system so that way our bodies can go into a state that's prepared for healing, for restoration, you know, and rejuvenation.
Okay, is there science behind how the sound impacts?
Absolutely. So there are decades of studies and research that has gone into how sound impacts the body. There were some viral videos that came out some years ago that talks about cymatics. And cymatics is when you take either sand or maybe even water on a plate, on a vibrating plate. And if you send tones to that plate, those the sand would make geometric shapes. So the studies showed how sound actually impacts our bodies. So technically we're about 70 to 80% water, right? Mm-hmm. So when we send sound frequencies to the body, it's like dropping a pebble in the pond and the ripple effects. So the water in our bodies are used to actually reach the innermost parts of our physiology, parts that you can't reach by just like a natural massage. You know, so we're able to use sound to impact our massage our internal organs, so the heart, the lungs, the liver, the stomach, you know, and by stimulating the vagus nerve, which is what regulates our nervous system, we're able to put our bodies into a rest and digest phase and reduce cortisol in the body and also to reduce stress. And again, when we're in that rest and digest phase, our body is rejuvenating, regenerating, and our bodies are resting, and we're actually able to digest our food at that point. You know, we're not in an elevated, just kind of like always on, you know, stressful state.
Okay, now I know you also have the infrared sauna, but what inspired you to add the sound therapy?
Sauna in general, just heat therapy, you know, really relaxes the body, opens the blood vessels, you know, allows us to really detox our skin. And, you know, our skin is the biggest organ on our body. Absolutely. So me actually being a musician, I've been a musician pretty much all my life since I was a little kid. And I always knew that music impacted us, you know, or we would select music just based on the mood, you know, maybe an activity. We get ready to go to the gym and work out. We're listening to something that's going to keep our heart rate up. That's going to, you know, kind of give us energy. We want to chill out. We want to relax. We listen to something that's more calm, you know. So I started studying how sound impacted us, not just music, but sound frequencies impacted our bodies on, you know, kind of a deeper level, a more therapeutic level. And when we opened my wife and I, when we opened the infrared sauna, we had space to create a sound room. And in that sound room, we put in a sound bed that transmits those frequencies to the body using vibration. So when you pair that to the benefits that you get with sauna, like I said, opening the blood vessel, detoxing the skin, really reducing blood pressure, sound therapy has a lot of the same benefits. You know, so the vibration actually opens up our blood vessels, allowing more blood to flow to the internal organs to actually reduce the cortisol. So pairing those two together just kind of made sense. You know, something that I've been into music and something I was passionate about in general, you know, pairing that with, you know, something that's really just overall wellness for the body that a lot of people don't think about when they're trying to, you know, detox, or when it's not just about losing weight, it's about just detoxing your mind, you know, kind of sitting in heat for 40 minutes, you just letting things out, you know, so it's a really good pairing.
So do certain frequencies target different parts of the body or stress levels?
The primary service from a sound therapy perspective, or I'll say package that we do most often, is just like a relaxation session that comprises of a 40 hertz frequency. Now 40 hertz, based on research and based on just, you know, actual application, 40 hertz actually again, stimulates the vagus nerve to kind of reduce stress. It also targets just kind of overall cell regeneration. So when we're trying to just kind of heal our bodies or relax our muscles after, we got a lot of runners that come in after running. We had people come in, Sunday was packed after the Richmond Marathon.
Wow.
So people come in just to get that rejuvenation into the larger muscles of their bodies. And, so 40 hertz works really well for just stimulating those muscles and also stimulating the lymphatic system. So for lymphatic drainage, getting fluid off the body, so 40 hertz is for that. When you go up a little bit to 60 to 80 hertz, that actually works well for like the muscles in the back, the shoulders, the neck. And we carry a lot of tension and stress, in our neck and our shoulders. And a lot of people don't know, why is my shoulders and why does my neck hurt all the time, So we can target those areas with certain frequencies that really help relax the muscles and release that tension in the body.
What changes do you often see in individuals who come and receive that therapy?
The biggest change that most people say is when they leave, they feel like they're floating a bit, things that may have usually, kind of ticked them off a little bit, they kind of like just roll off their back. Like they're just in a really relaxed state. Stress, they say stress is the silent killer. Stress leads to so many different, other issues, physical, emotional, mental issues, where if we can learn how to reduce that stress, even just as a, routine maintenance, if you will, like life happens,
Right.
You go to work, you got family, you got kids, whatever the case may be, like things stress us out. So we have to find ways to help reduce that stress. So when people come and do those relaxation sessions, be it through sound therapy, and if you get that heat, release and relaxation, then a lot of people just really feel just super chill, super relaxed. Some people just like, I want to go home and I don't want to do nothing. I want to go to work, so that's the most feedback we get is you're just feeling just super relaxed.
Okay, so when you're talking about relieving stress, so let's say for a woman who may have been through some type of trauma or loss, how can the sound provide that gentle release? Like how would that?
That's a great question. Sound therapy is a great supplemental or additional therapeutic resource to any other type of therapy or treatment that they might be taking part in. But because what sound can do is allow you to kind of be still, and the vibration that we provide through sound therapy is stimulating every cell in your body. So the tension that is held onto, a lot of times the emotional traumas that people have gone through, they can be stored in the body. And without a way to release that, that stimulation through the vibration can just help but release that tension that can come from the trauma. So that's why it's a good supplement. It doesn't replace any other type of, therapy or, any other type of wellness journey that the person may be on. But, the trauma that stores up into physical tension, we're holding in our emotions. And I know women, I'm not a woman, of course, but I'm married. I have a mom, I have sisters. I know women they hold on to a lot, and they're so strong that they just, they tend to put their emotions and, their needs on the back burner for everything and everybody else. And then eventually it can just get stuck and stagnant. And so we use vibration to kind of move that stagnant energy and to help, release it. So it can really be helpful with someone who maybe holding on to some tension through, maybe a traumatic, situation that they've endured.
Now, of course, you can speak in general, but can you share a client success story or some sort of breakthrough?
I love it when people come in for the relaxation sessions. Some people just, it's their birthday or, they're just kind of, just having a self-care day. And those are great. I love that people are taking the time out to treat themselves. We need to normalize that.
Absolutely.
Right? But the success stories that I love to hear is when someone is, getting a physical or like an emotional breakthrough. I've had people come out the sound room after their session, And when I say, so when you're doing a sound session, at Prism, you have the room to yourself.
Okay.
Myself as the practitioner or one of our attendants will actually start the session. We set the intensity of the vibration. We set the levels of the headphones for the soundscapes that you're listening to, the binaural beats, but then you have the room to yourself. So you can feel free to release whatever you feel you might need to release.
Okay.
And I've had people come out and just say, I don't know why, I just burst out in tears. I just felt this so much emotion come over me, and that goes to, maybe I don't ask, I'm not prying into no one's business, but maybe that person had something they were holding on to for a while, and it just came out at that point in time.
Okay.
So I love hearing those success stories. I have another person that comes regularly that was dealing with lymphedema, where she was able, and her doctor, gave her the go ahead to do it, vibrational therapy, and that helped, like I said, stimulates the lymphatic system. It helped drain that fluid, so over time, she would see less and less fluid on her body. Every time she would get up off the sound bed, she'd rush into the restroom, because the fluid is moving. So where people are using it for, just better well-being, I really got into this because I really believe in people living well as they can, and to provide a service where people can utilize that on their wellness journey, just their life journey. I love hearing those stories where people are getting breakthroughs, when they're, just through sound therapy.
Now you mentioned having back issues or physical therapy. So how long would it take for someone to see some benefits? Say they had an injury, like you said, the runners came in. Say they had an injury. How many sessions would you recommend someone if they have some sort of physical injury or ailment?
Right, and it really varies on the individual and how severe the injury is. Of course, I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't give medical diagnosis. So it really just depends on how the person feels. I can, in general, based on research, I can say that someone that may be dealing with sciatica, lower back issues, pinched nerves, you might need to come twice a week for 4 weeks. That's based on research. But again, depending on how your body is feeling and the what you're hearing back, again, this is a supplemental modality. This is not replacing anything that your doctor may be referring you to.
Another tool in the toolbox.
Right, another tool in the toolbox, a natural tool in the toolbox. So a lot of people like to go this route as opposed to any type of invasive surgery or anything. It pairs well with physical therapy. So if you're working with a physical therapist and you're telling them, oh, this is what I'm also doing, and then they're saying, oh, I'm seeing improvement, you can give that feedback to me, and then we can adjust it, as need be.
What about someone who may want to experience sound therapy and they're not able to come in person? What would you recommend for them?
Recently started doing virtual sessions. Of course, it doesn't include the vibration part of it because that requires the sound bed. But sound therapy is more than just vibration. We have the vibrating sound bed, but I also create custom soundscapes. I do guided meditations, breath work, kind of walk people through virtually one-on-one through Zoom, just assisting them with relaxation sessions and really just what they're looking for. Are they needing something for stress release? Are they needing something that's kind of just regenerating their emotional state? So I, as a musician, I have the ability to actually create custom soundscapes that kind of utilize frequencies, certain sounds, frequencies, and music embedded with what's called binaural beats. Now, binaural beats, it isn't anything musical. It's actually frequencies that help with brainwave entrainment and just kind of helping our brainwaves slow down so that way we can relax. Because so often we're trying to relax and our mind is just racing. We're thinking about what we got to do tomorrow, what we did, what happened earlier, all the things where our mind doesn't even slow down. So binaural beats help synchronize our brainwaves to help them slow down. So when you're trying to relax, you can actually relax your mind as well as your body at the same time. So I do create those where people can, partake in it on their own time at home.
Are there any tools or apps that someone in the beginning stage could try it?
Mm-hmm. I am a big proponent of YouTube University, you know, as they call it. You know, YouTube has so much content on it if you know what you're looking for. And I help people. I don't mind giving out suggestions and things of that nature. If people ask me all the time. And I tell folks, you know, I don't endorse any particular channel or anything, but if you go to YouTube, again, it's free. I would say get a premium account because you don't want to be trying to listen to something relaxing and the ad comes on, you know. So, you know, if you do have access to a premium account, but search for anything that's called solfeggio, solfeggio tones or solfeggio frequencies. Those frequencies actually work well for just kind of helping relax the mind. Some of them can be kind of busy, you know, so it kind of comes down to personal preference. If you're looking for something that's really just simple, I like to direct people, especially if you're having trouble sleeping, I like to direct people to search for color noises. Color noises, one of the most common ones is white noise. We probably all have heard of white noise, and we refer to it as static. You know, for anybody that's my age, you know, you had static on the TV. If the channel didn't have nothing on it, you just got static. But white noise is essentially every frequency in the spectrum all playing at the same level. But we don't want to listen to that. That doesn't sound great, you know. So green noise is a type of color noise, or is a type of white noise where the higher end and the lower end are rolled off to where it's not as harsh, it's not as, you know, blaring. So when you listen to green noise, it actually sounds like waves, like waves on a beach. You know, so it's very calming. Now, obviously, you can find a YouTube video with like crashing waves or rain or thunderstorms. It's like whatever you find that calms you, you know, that kind of gives you, you know, kind of just a sense of peace. YouTube. It's free, you know. But there are other apps like brain.fm, Calm is another good app. Those, you know, require subscriptions. They do have some, you know, free content on them. But if you want to go deep, then you have to, you know, subscribe to those applications. But there's so much available nowadays through just mobile apps, you know, like that.
How would someone pair the infrared sauna with the sound? So is that something you could do on the same day, or do you you come back another day after you do this on a Wednesday, make sure you come back on this day? How does that work?
So you can definitely do them on the same day, just not at the same time. So we do have a package, it's just a sound and sauna package. So most people will come in, they'll do a sound therapy session first, a 40-minute sound therapy session. It really, again, it just primes the body, just relaxes the body, relaxes the muscles. Most people fall asleep, you know, when they're there because it's so calming. And then the soundscapes you're listening to is really relaxing the mind. So you're really just in a super relaxed state. And then after your 40-minute session, you go for a 40-minute sauna session. Again, in your private room, no shared spaces. So you have your privacy to be in that room and just to really kind of veg out. You know, sometimes we just need a space outside the house, you know, because if you're at home trying to chill, oh man, I gotta do the dishes, or I gotta do this, gotta do that, the kids calling me, you know, so sometimes you do need a space that you can go to that's really quiet, that's really chill, laid back, and really get some actual relaxation. So you can definitely do it on the same day. So if
someone's already, they're gonna come in, they wanna get booked, how would they prepare for their sessions? Is there anything they need to do to prepare?
You know what, when it comes to sound therapy, preparing for it, the only thing I would say is have an open mind, especially if you've never done it before. When starting a session, when I'm talking to clients, we do, you know, a short intake. I always tell them, whatever your intention is, set your intention and focus on that. You know, if you come in and you already expecting something not to work, it's not going to work. You know, but if you come in just, oh, I heard this is super relaxing, I really need some relaxation, I'm looking for, you know, some stress relief, I had a rough week, your body is going to get what it's looking for because you're going in with the intention of receiving that. You know, the science is there. The science says it's going to work. But if you know, most people will put up our own blocks because we don't believe in something.
You'll tense up and it's not going to be.
You know, it's a new experience. You know, I will say the first few minutes, it's never uncomfortable. It's never overstimulating. It's just different. You know, it's not like You know, if you've ever sat on a massage chair that has like the balls and stuff moving in it, it's not like that. Right, okay. You know, some people might have that in their mind. They're like thinking, oh, this is what it's going to be like. No, it's gentle vibration, just stimulating every cell in your body. Okay. So it's super calming, and it's almost like if you were laying on a beach with waves washing over you, but you're not getting wet. Okay. It's just like the smoothness of it, you know, the chill and relaxation that comes with just being on a beach like that. You know? Can
you guide viewers through like a brief breathing or mini sound session?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is something that I encourage people to do at any point in time. You know, if you're at home, this is great to do, you know, when you first wake up. It's great to do before bed, any time of day, really. Whether you feel stressed or if you just want to start your day off with some, you know, some good breath work. Breath work is a part of sound therapy. Okay. Okay. We're utilizing, everything is frequency. Let me just say that. Everything is frequency. When we say sound therapy, we're talking about frequencies that we can hear. Now, the human hearing is only between 20 hertz at the lowest and 20,000 hertz. And the hertz is cycles per second. So how fast we're hearing a certain tone, a certain frequency. Breathing also stimulates the vagus nerve. It's transferring frequencies through our body. And it's not necessarily frequencies that emit sound, but we can emit sound by toning, humming, singing. If you got a great voice or not so great voice, you know, singing, those types of things really stimulate the body. Like, you know, you sing your favorite song, whether you sound good or not, like you feel happy, right? You feel bad. Yeah, you know, you feel good about that. So I encourage people to do stuff like that any point in time, even if you're not having a great day. Whatever your favorite song is, just start singing it. For a actual exercise, I give three different exercises. The first one is, it's an exercise to check to see how elevated your stress levels might be. Okay. Now, first thing you do is just take one hand, it could be your right hand, place it on your chest, and then your left hand, you can just place it on your stomach. And just take some deep breaths. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now, as you do that a couple times, just take notice of where you're feeling that when you inhale. Are you feeling your chest rise more, or are you feeling your stomach rise more? Okay, just take note of that. A couple more breaths. Now, if you're noticing your chest rise more, then your stress level is a little bit elevated. When we have elevated stress levels, or when we're just, you know, again, not freaking out or something, but, you know, just elevated cortisol levels, we tend to breathe more in our chest. When we're working out, when we're running, you know, if you're running, all that kind of, you know, it's all in the chest. You know, but when we're calm, when we're relaxed, we're breathing through our diaphragm or through our stomach. Okay, so that technique just checks. It's like a stress check, if you will. Where am I breathing? More in my chest, more in my stomach. If you're breathing more in your chest, then I recommend this next exercise. This next exercise is you do a 4-second inhale through your nose. We're going to hold for 2 seconds, and then we're going to exhale for 6 seconds out of our mouth. Okay? 4 seconds in, hold for 2 seconds, 6 seconds out. All right? Let's try it. Deep breath in through the nose. Hold. Release through the mouth. Feel free to close your eyes or just lower your gaze when you do it. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Again, inhale. Hold. Exhale. Now this next time, let's inhale, hold, and when you exhale, hum. Doesn't have to sound great. Try it again. Hold. Hum on the exhale. Should feel that vibration just going down through your chest, down to your stomach. Let's try it again. Inhale. Hold. Hum. All right, and you can try that as many times as you want. What that's doing, adding that hum at the end, is stimulating the vagus nerve naturally. Okay? The vagus nerve runs from the back of our neck, down, around the ears, down. It wraps around our heart, all the way down through our lungs and then into our stomach. So that's a brain to the stomach connection using the vagus nerve. So when we stimulate that, we're sending signals of relaxation and vibration, just stimulation all the way down through our bodies. And it's really helping just overall, if you might feel a little bit looser, just a little bit more relaxed. And we only did it for, 30 seconds. Try that for 5 minutes at a time. Then maybe bump it up to 10 minutes. It's a great way to start your day just in a more relaxed state. And, as opposed to cutting on CNN or, scrolling on Instagram, we do those things first thing in the morning. We are elevating our cortisol first thing. So even if that is what you do, take a moment to just kind of de-stress with that. This next exercise, this third exercise, is really just quieting yourself. And this is super helpful. I like to tell people to try this when you get home, before you get out your car. Don't turn the radio off, just sit in the car if you're in your driveway, a parking deck, parking lot, wherever you're, and just sit in silence. That silence really allows you to listen to your body. You might start hearing your heartbeat. You might start, just hearing whatever might be going on, around you. Like, just listen for, a dog barking, leaves, the wind blowing the leaves. Just listen for what's happening in the present. Instead of just like focusing on all the other things. When you sit in silence and just listen for what's going around, in just your natural surrounding, that's a technique. People don't think about silence as sound. Because in your own silence, you can hear all the other beautiful things in the world around us.
That's true.
So that's just a good technique, especially towards the end of the day. Just taking a moment of just peace. So that's a third technique I'd like to share with people to try.
Thank you so much for that. So how can our guests connect with you for sessions, events, or social media?
Prism Saunas and Sound is the name of the company. We're located at 12 North 25th Street, right here in Richmond, Virginia, Church Hill area. PrismSaunas.com is the website, and on Instagram is at Prism Sauna Spa. And so you can always just go through Instagram, shoot us a DM. You can go to our website and book a session through the website. There's also a mobile app called MindBody. The MindBody app. We're on MindBody. You can book directly through MindBody on a mobile app, and connect with us on Instagram. If you're interested in getting more information about sound therapy, you can definitely hit me on Instagram. AMZI Jackson. AMZI.tracked.it is my handle. So AMZI.tracked.it. AMZI Tracked It. Just message me on Instagram if you're interested in just more information about sound therapy. In case you're just skeptical, you got questions, something you want to take back to your doctor, maybe, just to see if there's something that works for you. If you need to do that, I'm always happy to share information, and then I can also help you book a session.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And ladies, remember, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
Always prioritize self-care. Take the time to rest, restore, and reset. Until next time, be blessed and stay fab and flashy.